Hey you guys, it's Dana and it's Tuesday, so it's time to talk about money and it's time to talk about my new car and how I paid cash for it and how to buy a car with cash. All right, so I have been driving the same Subaru for 13 years and the check engine light was on and the head gasket was leaking, oil was leaking, I don't know. So I used to drive around with a bottle of antifreeze in the car to fill up the antifreeze when the car started overheating. So I really have been working this car for years, like much further than it really should have gone because the head gasket kind of was leaking 5 years ago, but I've still just been driving it, keeping an eye on the fluids. And so the inspection came up, the inspection was due, and I knew this was probably going to be the time that the car was not going to make it. It failed inspection. It needed a whole new exhaust system. And so I was quoted $1,800 for the exhaust system. But then I went to two different garages, two different mechanics to get their opinion, to get different quotes, to see if they could bring the price down, to see if it was really worth it. Because the Subaru really was only worth about $1,500. Maybe $2,000 if it was in really good shape, but I didn't want to be putting $1,800 into a $2,000 car. So I had to make the decision whether or not to keep this car or not. So I decided to purchase a car and to trade in or to sell my current one. And it was really stressful. It's been making me ill. This has been going on for a while, but I've been, like I said, did my research trying to see if I could first get it fixed, how much it would cost, whether it was worth it to do that, talk to different people with different opinions. Did they think the car would last longer if I did do the repair to fix, it was just the exhaust system. Anyway, so to the car purchasing. So then I went and I started looking different places to buy cars, dealerships, CarMax, Car Sense, where they have used cars, just local used car dealers, regular, main chain dealers, Craigslist. I went onto Craigslist and looked for cars. I called somebody on Craigslist, talked to them about a car. And then I ended up finding a certain dealership lot where they had used cars that were within my price range being $4,000. So that's how much I wanted to spend on a new car. That's how much cash that I had available to pay for a car. And this is the first time I've ever actually gone in to buy a car with cash. And so it was really nerve-wracking, but exciting at the same time. But I found it within the inventory. Now, if you go on to dealership websites, it's actually really awesome because you can see their full inventory online. A lot of times you can click and see the Carfax report as well. Like you can see it all there because where I live in Pennsylvania, a lot of people are saying used car dealers or people on Craigslist are shipping cars up from the south where they've been exposed to flood and they're reselling these flood cars up, in the Northeast. And a lot of times the buyers aren't aware that it was a car from the flood zone. So it's nice to see the Carfax report online before going into the dealership. And so I kind of have an idea of what I wanted to look at before even going in. So I went into this dealership and I brought my car with me, my Subaru. So number one, if you have a car that you're looking to trade in as part of your deal, you want to make sure you bring it with you. And when you go to the dealership to buy your car with cash, these are the two main things that I think from this experience. You have to be willing to buy it that day. You have to be ready to pay for it. So you want to bring your checkbook with you and have the money in your account ready to go. And you have to be ready to walk away, to leave, right? Those are two really big, important things when you're buying a car. Being able to walk away is an important thing in general, that you're willing to do that, but also that you're ready to actually make the purchase. Because when you go in and you have cash, whether it's actual cash or you're going to be writing a check or using your debit card, if you happen to be able to buy a car. At this dealership, they had a sign that said they would do a debit card transaction for up to $2,500. So if you had a $2,000 trade-in and you were buying a car, and the remaining balance was $2,000, you could have used your debit card to purchase the rest of the car. So, but aside from that, they said they accepted personal checks, which I was surprised by. I thought that I was going to have to go to the bank and get a certified check or have actual cash, right? But they accept personal checks. They were totally fine with that. So you have to be able to, like I said, be able to buy it in that day that you're there and also be willing to walk away. So when I looked at the car that I was interested in buying, I just was really upfront. The car was listed for $4,900, and I said, "Is there any way you can lower the price of this car? I'm looking for the car to be about $4,500, and then I would like to get at least $500 for my Subaru as trade-in because the check engine light's on. It has high mileage. I know all these things about it. I didn't say that part, but I'm looking for about $4,000. That's what I can do. That's what I have, and I'm prepared to pay. Today I have cash." And so those two things I think are important. I think a little bit of honesty. I know people think that doesn't make any sense at a dealership, but if you have a set amount that you are able to spend, like you have that amount of money in your bank account or cash or whatever, then just say, like, this is what I've got. And honestly, I think that really helped me. They ended up giving me $1,000 trade-in for my Subaru that really, it was like they're going to take it to the auction. There's nothing in that Subaru. It's really head gasket leaking. It's not in good shape. And so I was able to purchase the car within my price range of $3,900 is what I wrote the check for. All right. So I was really excited. I cannot express how amazing it is to have actual money as opposed to financing your car. It was such a different experience for me. I just felt so much better not having to fill out paperwork for financing and tell them how much money I make, where I work. It's just so nice to not have to, they don't need to know that. It's none of their business when you're just paying for the car. And I think that it helps so much just from a personal empowerment perspective, especially as being a woman, that I think it helps a lot to be able to sort of stand your ground and negotiate the price when you know how much money you have and you actually have the money. You're not sitting there behind the desk waiting to hear back, were you approved? Like, when they walk off and you guys sit there, and you got to be kind of nervous waiting for their approval if you're going to be, get the loan. It's such a better experience when you have cash. Even in this case, it's a car under $5,000. It's not like it's a huge amount of money. It's a big amount of money to us. That's a lot of money. And I still kind of felt like, oh my gosh, I'm spending all this money. But it was such a wonderful experience. And then after we agreed on the price and everything was, the deal went through, and then I went and I sat with the, somebody else. I don't know. I never worked in a dealership. I don't know what his title was, but the person who prints out all the paperwork for you to sign to transfer the title and all that stuff. Plus, also I brought with me, I had the title for my car, my Subaru. I had the title for that I brought along to give to them to the title. But that guy too, even sitting with him and then writing the check out for the car and giving it to him, it was so much more easy and just like it was just not as stressful. The whole transaction all around just felt so much better to be using cash. And I really wanted to make this video, you guys, because before I went in, it was terrifying. And I looked up a lot of videos on YouTube about buying a car with cash, and just like the simple mechanics of it is what I didn't understand. I know this sounds really weird, but I haven't bought a new car in years and years and years, or a new used car, new to me car. I haven't bought it in years, and I felt like, what were the actual mechanics of? I understand like buying a cash car. Like I was like, what do I need a cashier's check? Do I have actual cash? Like, do I have to have actual cash, or how does that even work? I was so confused by it. But you can write a personal check. A lot of dealers, you just ask them, do you take a personal check for this? And, I do think that they are willing to give you a better price, either on knock down the price of the car or give you a higher amount of money for your trade-in if you are ready to just pay for it, because it's easier for them too, I imagine, if they don't have to go through all the paperwork of financing and then find out that you don't make, you don't qualify for financing, then the deal falls through. So it's easier for them too when you're just ready and you're saying you're just going to pay for it. You don't have to have financing. So they are more willing, I think, to give you a better price. And it's just, I don't know. It's just, it was just such a great experience. But like I said, you can bring cash, but you don't have to. You can just do a personal cash or even a debit card. Like I said, if all you owe is, depending on the dealership, they might have different amounts, but they can take a debit card if you're going to be $2,500 or less. So, especially if you're buying a used car, that's going to work out if you have a trade-in. So any questions down below in the comments? I don't think I forgot anything, but basically this car, I'm hoping it'll last me for a couple years. It's a Toyota Camry, which are really good cars, and 130,000 miles, and it's in good shape, I think. So I'm very excited about it. The Subaru that I was driving, the trunk wouldn't open. So this car, the trunk opens, which I'm like, ooh, the trunk opens. It's these little things in life, you know what I mean? And I really just need this car to drive back and forth to work, and that's really all that we ever use my car for. And so I just wanted something that would get me there and back, something very simple, something I could pay cash with. And so it was really a good experience for my first cash car buying experience. All right, so that's it, you guys. If it's your first time here, be sure to subscribe. I'm here every single Tuesday talking all about money, and I encourage everybody to live debt-free, to not borrow money, not only because that's what the Bible says, but also because it is just so incredibly freeing. It feels fantastic because when you don't have payments, what you have is money in your account, which is really great, right? Can't argue that. All right. Okay. All right, I'll talk to you guys next week. Bye.